Right, this is one. Charles Warnish asked me this. He says he's just been made redundant and he's thinking of becoming a self-employed courier driver on the exchange. Well, not just self-employed courier driver. In fairness, what are my thoughts on a long wheelbase van? And a little while ago, Lee Westcott, who's a regular contributor to the comments, thank you, mate. He said do one on like the pros and cons of different vans. I've kind of done it before on what they're worth, but I'll do it again. See if I can clarify it a bit. Basically, it is the bigger the van, the more money you get for a job, which stands to reason, because they're going to pay you more. Someone is going to pay more money to move 5 pallets of power tools than they are to move 1 box of power tools, because presumably they can split the cost as they pass it all on. So, starting with your small van jobs normally sell for around 65p a mile, probably around £25 a job. You'd be looking at for a little job, going right up to a Luton van, which will sell for around £1, £1.10 a mile. In a curtain side, maybe £1.20, £1.30. You get more for a curtain. You can get 6 pallets on a curtain, whereas on a normal, you can get 6 pallets on a normal Luton, but it's a squeeze. So your advantage is that with every van you've got a band width. So if you've got, say for example, a small van, you can only do small van jobs. If you've got like a medium wheelbase, which is, I class a medium wheelbase as kind of 2 metres, you may also look for a short wheelbase job. You may also look for a small van job. If it's the right job, it's close to you, you might quote medium wheelbase money, but you obviously can't go for a long wheelbase, because if you've got a 2 metre bed and you turn up and it's 3 pallets, it won't fit. So working your way forward, they kind of fit a band with medium wheelbase, small wheelbase, short wheelbase and small van jobs. They kind of sell for around 65p up to 75p. Then you've got to go into your medium wheelbase, long wheelbase, extra long wheelbases. They will sell from around 75p up to around £1 in an extra long wheelbase if you can get that. And then you've got like long wheelbase, extra long wheelbase Luton vans, again going from around 75-80 pence in a long wheelbase, going up to about 110, maybe 120, 130 in a Luton. Long wheelbase, so advantages and disadvantages of different vans. On your medium wheelbase, your first category, I've got lots of into 3s. Small van, short wheelbase, medium wheelbase. Those kind of jobs are going to be easy. Driving a van, like driving a car. Every area is accessible. I did one on small vans. The advantages: you turn up, you're not going to be at the loading place very long. There's not going to be a lot of aggravation. I'm going to say you've just got a handball on those 50 boxes, because it's only a small van. You can physically not fit that much in it. Normally you'll roll in, be in a reception, that box over there, mate, easy to get to, easy to get out of, transfer over. But then again, the job at the end of the day, and you can probably get in the smaller vans, possibly 4 jobs a day if you squeeze it in. And then you go your medium wheelbase, long wheelbase, extra long wheelbase. Those ones, I always struggle with the mid-range vans. The biggest advantage with the mid-range vans tends to be, particularly with the long wheelbase, as Charles has commented on. Sorry, my hair's got a bit wayward. I forgot the barbers shut before the lockdown, didn't I? Is the weight. You can get more weight in like a medium wheelbase, not so much medium wheelbase, but in a long wheelbase van, you can often get 1.5 tonne. You're going to struggle to get 1.5 tonne on a Luton, particularly if it's got a tail lift. It'll probably only carry about 1 tonne. And an extra long wheelbase, again, you've got the weight advantage. So you've also got the advantage that in a long wheelbase or below, your neighbours probably aren't going to scream about the fact you've got it on your driveway. Particularly with the smaller vans, medium wheelbase, short van, no one's going to complain about that. Going up to about a long wheelbase, extra long wheelbase is kind of sticking out a little bit. Luton van, let's hope you technically I think you can park it there. Anything up to 3.5 tonne isn't so much of a problem. It's got to have sympathetic neighbours, that's all. And then of course you go into the Lutons and stuff like that. Extra long wheelbase Luton, with distance job particularly. What always frustrates me with a small van is that if you're going to go 100 miles in a small van at 65p a mile, you're going to get 65 quid. If you're going to go 100 miles in a Luton van and you can get 110 a mile, it's £110. It takes about the same amount of time. It might take a little bit longer to put it on and a little bit longer to get it off, but it takes about the same amount of time. That's why I've always hankered towards the bigger vehicles. And I kind of prefer bigger vehicles. and now in a lorry again. Then in lorries, to take it even further, they fit into 3 different categories. So you're jumping from, when you get into a lorry, I'm quoting around £2 a mile in a 7.5 tonne, £2.50 in the 18 tonnes. So now a Luton van to me is the same ratio from 7.5 tonne to Luton van is half. So when I was quoting, say I was in Portsmouth and I was coming back to Dunstable, and you're really looking for a Luton job because you might get 120, 130 quid and a small van comes up, you're only going to get 50, 60 quid. So now I don't even in the lorry tend to particularly go for Luton jobs anymore, because if I get one and then 2 minutes later a lorry job comes up, I could have taken more dough for it, So what I'm hoping to do is to jump in the 18 tonne, and then I can quote 7.5, 12 and 18 tonnes. But this is all my way forward. But not everybody wants to do it that way. Not everybody wants to break their neck. And I've said this before. Some people, just want a few quid. You're not trying to conquer the world. I'm still trying to conquer the world, bless me. I don't know why. But some people are quite happy, go and do 2 or 3 jobs a day, earn themselves a oneer, have a little van, no aggravation, that kind of thing. Ultimately, the choice is yours. So, what's the best van to go for? I personally like the bigger vehicles, but that's me. And not everybody is me. What I recommend is work out how much money you've got to spend. Work out what kind of a life you want. Do you really want to go for it? Get up at 5, work till 7, work weekends, also do house clearance and all that kind of stuff? Or are you just happy potting around for a little bit of pocket money, and then have a look at what's out there, work out, it will speak to you. You think, actually, I fancy having a go in a small van. Actually, I start having a go, I want to go for it, I want to get a Luton Curtainside. Then start looking around. And it might be like, I can't find a Luton Curtainside anywhere, but I tell you what, there's a guy down the road, no distance at all, he's selling a blinding, spanking long wheelbase for nothing because he needs to clear it quickly. And the van will find you. But ultimately, this is the best piece of advice I can give you regarding buying a van. If you want to be a self-employed courier, buy a van. It doesn't matter which van you buy. It doesn't matter whether it's got a curtains light, it doesn't matter if it's a tail lift, that's small. Just get involved, because you'll never learn anything unless you get involved. One of our drivers recently, he started off in a small van, he's now driving one of the lorries because he worked out the small van wasn't for him. He's happy in the lorry. There's only one way to find out. Get involved. If it doesn't work out for you, you go, do you know what? I've been driving around this for ages, it's driving me mental. This Luton lark's not for me. Sell it and get a little one. Or go, I'm in the small van, I love it, but I'd like to make more money. Sell it and buy a Luton. There's only one way to find out. Hold your nose and jump. And if you do decide to hold your nose and jump, I hope it works out for you. And I hope you take care and take care.